I spent months in the outlining phase. I was meticulously planning out every scene, story circling the acts, sequences, scenes, individual beats, character arcs, and everything. I had multiple variations of all of this. Even my protagonist changed multiple times. The themes evolved, my midpoint was toiled over for weeks, but after all of this, I never got a single word on the page. If you're a more analytical writer like myself, this might be the scenario, but on the other side, if you tend to use the left side of your brain a little bit more, you might have written some really emotionally resonant scenes, but you struggle to get past that page 20 or 40 mark. And trust me, you can be there for years. My name is Albert Ellison. I'm an independent screenwriter and filmmaker, a creator of a film called The Profession, which will hopefully release sometime later this year or early next year. Let's walk through a few simple steps to learn how to actually finish your screenplay. Step 1 is making a milestone document. Chances are you're doing this alone, like me, in a dark room with no one to hold you accountable. It's a lot easier to actually finish something when you have a boss looming over you, putting pressure on you, or when your financial situation depends on it. To be a professional screenwriter, you need to act like one, which means you need to have deadlines and contracts. Write up a milestone document like this one. It should have a list of what you're going to complete and by when. Sign it and have an accountability partner or even your significant other sign it too. Don't break your own word. Feel free to frame this, hang it up on your wall where you'll see it every day, like on your fridge or by your desk. And now that you've defined what you're going to do, step 2 is making an outline. It doesn't matter whether you're a more analytical or emotional writer, whether you hate or love to outline. They're necessary for keeping us on track, but we really only want to be addressing the heart of the story right now. What is your protagonist want and need? Define those important scenes that you've kept bottled up inside of you that are going to push the narrative forward in big ways. Third, have an idea of what kicks off the story, what's going to raise the stakes in the middle, and how you want it to end, which should answer the really important question of how does your character change by the end. Through all of this, if you feel stuck, use the tool of the story circle to keep you going. And if it feels too simple, just trust it for now and follow that cycle. Really, that's it. That's all you should be doing for the outlining process in this first step. And it shouldn't take you any more than a week. This needs to be just a very rudimentary baseline. Step 3 is what I call doing a barf draft. This is just puking out all of your feelings onto the page and making a rough draft. It's important for you to follow those notes that you made in the outline so that you at least have a through line, but please allow yourself to go off the beaten path. If your feelings are leading you some way, allow yourself to actually create new scenes. Follow the flow and don't judge what you write. Setting a minimum daily page count is going to be really important for this process. Even starting with just 1 page a day will get you through it in less than half a year. I would recommend making the minimum daily page count low, that way you're not discouraged if you can't hit it. The reality is that some days you're going to get into a stride and you're going to get into a flow and you're going to write 10 or 20 or 50 pages if you're doing really well that day, but other days you're going to struggle to just get out even that 1 page. But by setting a minimum daily, there's a reality that you're going to finish that script in 120 days or 90 days or however long your script ends up going. But there are going to be those days where you make up that margin and it's going to be even tighter than that. I wrote 23 pages in the margin of 3 hours the other day, and it really doesn't matter if they were trash because this is a barf draft. That's what it's for. You say, okay, but Albert, what about refining the character conflict and pacing, and the dialogue rhythm needs work, and the location needs to evoke more, and the arcs need to be more perfect, and the midpoint needs to be stronger, and the theme needs to be more specific, and the script formatting needs to work, and the exposition needs to be less obtrusive, and the pinch points need... Just stop. I reiterate, don't return to what you've written for now. Keep pushing forward and there will be time to fix all of that. There has to be clay on the table before you can refine and shape that clay, so get the words on the page. That brings us to step 4, which is to lean into what you fear, and this is kind of a hard one. Once you finish your draft, there's going to be a lot that you hate about it. One of the hard things as an artist is that you learn to improve your craft every day, so naturally you grow a disdain for whatever you created in the past, because it's just not as good as what you want it to be. To start shaping the clay that you have on the table into something that you're actually pleased with, one of my greatest recommendations is to conquer what is scaring you head on. Find a scene that you don't like and pinpoint why. Maybe that scene is a really important romantic moment in your story and it's just feeling too cheesy. If you're afraid that it's too cheesy, I would recommend trying to make it all the more cheesy as you possibly can. Write the most cheesy version of the scene that you possibly can, and you might be surprised at what comes out of it. Fear inherently tries to keep us from the best versions of ourselves. If you're afraid of going a certain direction, that's probably exactly where you need to go. If you're afraid that your scene is too cheesy or too dry or cringe or heavy, then double down. I bet you'll find something under the surface that will feel a lot better there. Allow yourself to experiment with new versions of the scene like this. And that brings us to step 5, which is just to repeat. But guess what? You already finished. In fact, you finished the screenplay around step 3. Now that you've put the clay down and formed it a bit, just take a step back and review. Take some notes and grab whatever scenes you really like that you came up with and insert them into your outline so that that's a necessity moving forward. Revise the outline with the mistakes you found, the character revelations you had, the turning points you ran into. Now, it's time to start another draft. I think it's important that you start the second draft on a new document, just clean slate it. Now, don't actually throw it away because you need those old versions for note taking. I think a lot of time can be wasted and creative potential can be lost if you're stuck in your first draft and just trying to tweak it to perfection. Rewriting the same scenes will evolve them and bring out the best versions of those scenes. And guys, that's really all there is to it. The hard part about actually finishing your screenplay is allowing yourself to make those mistakes and just get the words on the paper. There will always be time to form the clay. And yes, reworking and redrafting is a massive part of the process, and it's what leads to a quality product. But why most writers fail is because we have a fear that we're not going to write a good enough script. We just want it to be perfect, and in that, we never even write a script. Get out there, make milestone documents, outline, barf draft, lean into what you fear, and repeat. Thanks for watching this episode, guys. If you enjoyed it or found it informative, consider leaving it a like and subscribing. Now, if you thought it could have been better, leave me a thumbs down and give me some constructive criticisms below. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next time.